are teamed up to provide services in our community. We welcome from LifeWays, Executive Director of Clinical Services, Cassandra Watson, and our Sheriff, Gary Schutte. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bart.
Yeah, nice to have you here. And Cassie, you're also known as.
Yes.
Yes. How long have you been at LifeWays?
I've been at LifeWays for 8 years.
Cool. I didn't know this, but you two work together to serve the population, inmate population primarily, right?
That's right.
That's correct.
I know we've talked about this before, Gary, where there's all kinds of things that you guys have to deal with patient population. And I would imagine somebody being in jail, it's not the greatest for someone's mental health.
No. One of the most important things to remember about being in jail, specifically the Wesley Street facility, is that they're all pre-trial. In other words, they don't know what's going to happen next. They're waiting for the other shoe to drop. So the folks that are in there, there's just a tremendous amount of tension. They have a tendency to exaggerate their emotions as a result of that. Mm-hmm. They feel suicidal a lot of times. Sometimes they're on edge and they want to fight with the other inmates, and sometimes they want to fight with the deputies themselves. So it's that waiting and anticipating what's going to happen next in their life that I think really keeps them on edge. Then when you throw the mental health aspect into it, a lot of those folks have some difficulties to begin with. And then of course the drug addiction on top of all of that really causes a lot of stress.
Yeah, they might have had mental health problems that caused them to be arrested.
Correct.
So you provide some services. What do they consist of?
Sure. So we provide crisis services. That's for those folks that are feeling suicidal, those folks that are experiencing a mental health crisis. And then we also provide group therapy, which focuses on coping skills, anger management. We also do some trauma-focused work. And then we do individual therapy with inmates who are requiring therapy.
It's got to be hard because in some cases, as Gary mentioned, they don't know what's going to happen to them tomorrow. And there are situations where it's likely they're going to go to prison from jail. So anticipating something in the future that's going to be worse, that's got to be hard to deal with.
Sure, and we actually provide group therapy for individuals who are going to prison. So we do preparatory groups to go to prison, but then also we provide groups for those folks who are transitioning out of the jail back into the community to help them prepare for that reintegration.
So there are some good, I guess, there's some positive interactions when people are getting out.
Absolutely.
So what does this consist of? Give us an idea of what a 1 hour session. Do you meet with, are there several
Yes.
together in a group?
Yes, there's approximately 20 to 30 in a group depending on the interest and those who have signed up. We do 4 1-hour group sessions in the Chandler Road facility and at least 1, sometimes 2 in the group sessions in the Wesley Road facility. And we focus on coping skills. So how do you cope with the changes in your environment? How do you prepare for the potential for going to prison or going back into the community? We also focus on accountability and taking ownership not only for the feelings that you have, but the actions that you're taking because of those feelings. So it's a cognitive behavioral therapy model that we try to connect feelings with actions and then change how those perceptions of the behaviors.
It's going to be really hard because you do have people that are in truly hopeless situations.
Absolutely.
What types of, for you, having your sheriff's deputies deal with these people, what type of training do you get? Does LifeWays assist you in helping your deputies deal with these issues?
Yes, they do. In fact, they've been wonderful. So not only do we have access to them because they're working with us, on a daily basis. They're there 40 hours a week at both facilities, both on Chandler Road and on Wesley Street. So we have that interaction with the deputies on what's the best way to handle these folks under these certain circumstances. And in addition to that, we also work with LifeWays for crisis intervention. So we have crisis intervention teams to deal with folks that have these really difficult episodes, and what's the best way to talk them down from it so that they don't hurt themselves, so they don't hurt us, so they don't hurt other inmates. I mean, it's really about public safety, and I think it's really done a lot of good for us. a lot of good. One of the things that I'd like to point out too is, you notice we do 4 therapy sessions over on Channer Road, and we do 1, maybe we can squeeze 2 on Wesley Street, and that's because of the physical plant limitations of Wesley Street, and we've talked about that before.
Yeah, so the plan is this year, voters will be asked to approve an addition to the Channer Road facility and move the jail all to one campus.
Yes, which will greatly enhance our ability to serve the population with LifeWays, community mental health.
Why is LifeWays concerned about the prison and jail population, Cassandra?
They're part of our community. You know, the folks that are going into jail or coming out of jail, they're part of our community. They're community members. We want them to be productive. We want them to achieve their goals in life. And I think we also have to think of the jails as a part of the system of recovery, that as people step into the jails and step out of the jails, they're part of that system and that community system of recovery. And so by providing services, then we are truly meeting the needs of our community from a comprehensive and a holistic level.
We've all heard stories about people that get out of prison and they end up right back there weeks later because they couldn't cope. Do you think this helps in that transition to prevent recidivism?
Yeah, so that's our goal. We just implemented, I think it's been 2 months now, maybe 3, a post-incarceration group. So that group is specific to folks that are coming out of the jails to help them reintegrate and help them cope with that change in environment, and also promote some environment change. Because if you're stepping out of jail into the exact same environment that you were in prior to going to jail, then that might be causing some of the stress, it might be causing or contributing to some of the behaviors. So our goal is to change that environment and to help folks succeed and achieve life-enhancing recovery.
You don't want these people back.
No, and you know, they've been wonderful to work with, LifeWays has, in that regard. And we've made it as seamless as possible. Once you leave jail, we have LifeWays intervening and helping you almost immediately.
So it's not a bus ticket and $5.
No, it's much different than that.
How does this, for you and your team, and also for you, what kind of response from those that you're serving and the people that are working with these support groups are you getting?
So the deputies love it. This makes all the difference in the world. And you know, you can't work with folks that are in a difficult, stressful situation and not have compassion for them. And the deputies that work for us do have that compassion. And when they're not able to actually reach out and help these folks, it can be very trying on them, very stressful. So having the intervention with LifeWays has really helped them help these folks in many different ways.
And you get, from those clients you're having meetings with and those inmates, and what are they telling you? How is it impacting them?
We actually we've had to implement 4 groups because of how many people want to be part of the group. So we would have to reach capacity and then say, okay, we need another group in order to meet the need or the desire to participate. And then they also get certificates of achievement. So they complete this group or the therapy that they're being provided, and they actually get a certificate that says you achieved this. We've received very good feedback from the consumers that are participating.
And how is this being paid for?
We actually are paying for all of this through the millage that was passed by Jackson County. It's 2016, I think it was passed. So all of these services are provided via that millage. And so this is really just us telling the community that this is how your taxpayer dollars are being used for exactly what we intended.
I know you've had people you put on suicide watch that you've got housed. How do you know? It's got to be a potential for anyone that comes into the system.
Well, that's true, and we question them when they come in through the door about whether or not they are suicidal, whether or not they want to harm anyone else, those types of questions. And you'd be surprised, folks will just come right out and tell us, yes, I am. And then through our interactions with them and our daily walks through the facility, we make concerted efforts to talk to folks and make a determination as to how they're doing. And of course, we're watching them constantly on camera and different things like that. And you'll see different behaviors that are a little bit troubling, and then it causes you to inquire a little bit better.
Well, that's great to hear. I had no idea we had these services being provided. Glad to hear about it. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You bet. Our sheriff, Gary Schutte, and from LifeWays, Executive Director of Clinical Services, Cassandra Watson. More